Hi, it's Michelle Austin from the Lead with Impact podcast. We all know that feeling of being alone and isolated in business. It's tough out there, and it's easy to feel like you're the only one struggling while navigating the business world. But the good news is you're not alone. The Lead with Impact podcast is all about learning from others who have been there and done that. We interview inspiring guests who share their stories, trials, and triumphs so that you can learn from their mistakes and map out your path to success. Each week, we'll bring you inspiring stories, valuable insights, and actionable tips from other business people who are leading with impact. So, if you're ready to learn from others and take your business to the next level, subscribe to the Lead with Impact podcast today. Hello to all you impact makers out there. It's Michelle Austin with another episode of the Lead with Impact podcast. Today I have the honor of being in conversation with Sara Murray. Sara Murray is an inspiring entrepreneur, author, photographer, and creator. As the founder of the empowering women's brand, ME, she is well known for her unparalleled dedication to helping women from all backgrounds express their vulnerability and beauty and lead better lives through confidence building and personal development coaching. Through her powerful motivational speeches, esteemed mentorship prowess, and unwavering commitment to providing sustainable assistance for those affected by gender-based violence, Sara has become a trailblazer in her field. Her compelling vision to provide a home for individuals who want to be accepted as their true selves resonates with people from all walks of life. With over 8 years of experience leading this incredible movement, Sara continues to dream big and impactfully help others as they strive towards creating a better future for themselves. Thank you so much, Sara, for joining us. I really appreciate it.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for asking me.
We're really privileged for having you here today.
That's kind.
Okay, so let's hop straight into it. What do you think people misunderstand about you the most?
It began with the photography, right? And one of the biggest misconception of boudoir photography. Always, you get everybody and the old auntie and the uncle and everyone's going, oh, my photography. And I'm like, it is not. I got to explain the difference. And that for me is probably the biggest misconception, I would feel, because it absolutely is not. It's not. There's even a difference between boudoir and erotica before you even get to pornography,
yes.
Whereas between the boudoir photography that I like to focus on and other boudoir photographers, like I feel like everyone's earned their place in where they are, and mine is specifically in empowerment. It's not about the photos. It started off as something that I love doing, but it always became about how we're empowering women. From the first time I took a photo, as a boudoir photo, it was the reaction of watching somebody go from, oh, they can't look nice, to, oh my word, is that me? And then all of a sudden they look incredible and now they love it. And watching that transformation, people think they get addicted to doing boudoir, but as a photographer doing that, I think it's equally addictive because you're kind of watching this person transform. And for me, that's like the beauty part when I did that. I think just overall, like the misconception that the brand in itself is only about women because it's feminist, and it's not. Like women empowerment, and I'll always say this, believe in empowering women because I am who needed empowering, and I will always be, because I needed me a few hundred, how many years ago it was. Yeah. But it does not, the woman who stands for women, I hate men. It's not about that. And also a big misconception. So we're actually trying to eventually into, a way that empowers men in a world that has now become so anti-man.
Yes.
Just as much as what women were going through before. So it's got nothing to do with the fact that men suck and, because I am a woman and I care as a woman. And that's what I'm going to do.
100% agree with you. And I feel exactly the same. For instance, exactly about to the woman yesterday, I said, I'll bring men, and I've got nothing against men, but I'm passionate about just helping women find their lane.
Yeah, 100%. That's one of the reality is that there's always been a preference for men. Trying to fight that by doing to them what was done.
It's 100%.
And I'll say them, but I'll classify myself. So one of my slogans is evolving femininity. It's empowering women in evolving femininity, because I feel with that statement in itself is so broad. Evolving femininity is also in the sense of like you're a woman who is trying to find, how do I explain this, like in this world now where everything is about, fighting men back and doing this thing, that you're and evolve yourself that way in such a way, harming someone else, that you've got to repeat.
Yes.
Because that's essentially what's going to just, in my opinion, keep on happening. Yep. Now you got to have the men who's going to start fighting back, and then the woman, do we want to do that?
Yeah.
Find a way to peacefully just in a way that, yes, opportunities for everybody, just making something away from else.
I agree completely.
That's what I feel.
I think we can apply that in any areas of our lives. It's just, that's what it's about. Quality.
100%.
Let the best person get the job. Let the best person...
Who's earned it.
Exactly.
100%.
I agree with that.
And it's even saying that, like I was saying earlier about how I have a business mentor, that is a man who pretty much only mentors women. And I look at that and it's like somebody said to me before, because I had a woman that came to me and said, but why you stand for women empowerment in this? And at the end of the day, I said, it's not because I don't want to support another woman, because I do, but it's who's best at the job for me, because that's what essentially what it means. It doesn't mean now every man allowed to come near me with your product or your service because it's man. No, it just means that if there's something that a woman does, we will support it.
Yes.
As long as you're earning it. I'm not going to,
just give it to you on a platter.
Yeah, here you're a woman and you're giving me, I'm just going to use mugs as an example. You're going to give me a mug and it's cracking and I'm going to choose that over a perfectly good mug just because you're a woman.
Yes.
It's not going to help me. It's not going to, you're not empowering anybody. What you're doing is essentially do whatever they want to do. And you're not empowering a woman to help them do, by allowing them to do the wrong thing either.
So something that I learned recently was about, so I'm also very passionate about youth empowerment. And one of the programs that I participate in, empowering the youth of South Africa, self-reliant.
Oh, yes, 100%.
So it's about that as well. That's self-reliance.
Yeah.
You don't want to give people things on silver platters. You don't want to give them handouts. You want to teach them or mentor them into, because there's no better anybody.
100%. I believe this firmly with women as well. So even when it comes to the business, when it comes to, obviously it's a very broad range business. Sorry, I keep bumping this thing. And just, especially when it comes to women, is learning how to be self-sustainable. I won't allow someone, even as an employee, where there's no growth or there's not an opportunity where I'm saying, okay, cool, you're going to be part of something, but I'm just going to give it to you. You have to do certain things to show me that you're capable of doing this, but you're too. I'm never expecting to jump in and save her. It's not what that's about, unless it's Jess. But aside from that, I feel like a lot of people need to be put in positions where they are believed in enough to do what they want to do, so that they can sustain themselves. Because when somebody's believing in you, all of a sudden you have like this magic power. You can do anything you wanted to do without relying on anybody. So that's part of the business stuff that on my side is making sure that we are trying to help women with whatever resources we can, and any supporting education, resource or service, whatever's available, to make sure that they understand whatever the situation they're in, they can work for themselves. Or they can provide some kind of income for themselves. And especially from the charity perspective, where it be, and we're trying to help women in those situations, we find a lot of the women stay because they're not, for example, financially stable. They're going to stick with a man who is abusive or a partner is abusive, because there's a lot of women who are dating women who land up in exactly the same position. So whoever the partner is, because finances are involved. And so that's why I think I'm equally passionate about that, like making sure of sustainability, finding a way for yourself that's available, empowering you whatever level you're at to grow into something that you can sustain yourself, so that you don't need anybody else. Because I'm more than that. For whatever reason, finances, you have people, many of these base levels, others drop a little bit more. You'll have a lot less women staying or with actually just women who are working in jobs to it, providing that skill. So that was.
When do you think you've grown the most, and what do you think that?
So for me, I think everything has happened in stages, and I can acknowledge each one of those stages and the impact each one of those stages had in my life and made. I think I left my ex-husband was a huge turn. I had died. I was in a new relationship, and I was just like, how am I going to do this? But it was a huge turning point for me when it was like, if I had pieces back together, I was able to work through what I needed to. It opened my eyes. A lot of the situation that I was around. Going through divorce really changes a lot. It opens your eyes. And I sat back. I was very lucky to have a very supportive partner in this sense. And it that was the biggest turning point for me, when I realized I can do more than what I was of abuse, because from every incredibly oppressive. And so everything I was working for at that point was just to keep trying. And the difference, support, be allowed to have recreate and reestablish the passion that I had, was when I was like, okay, I can do this. And that was in 2019. And by 2020, I re-released like We're Gonna Go, and then COVID happened, which was fantastic. And we were very, very lucky. I'm not gonna lie, we actually grew exponentially, in the sense that nothing during the day. So constantly watch it, connect with people online, do whatever we were doing. People during that time felt a lot of people need. And by the time COVID had kind of, it blew up. And it was fantastic. I hope I could.
That's
but
perfect.
it was it was a huge turning point, is when I decided I'm no longer, so that was at the end of 2018 when I left him. During 2018, I'd been hospitalized to try to commit suicide twice. It was a really good year. And pretty much saying to myself, you have a choice. You're going to either move forward now, and you can, I was 30, and I was like, going to do this and keep living your life, or accept the fact that 31 is kind of like where it ends for you. I felt like 31's like your life is gone, man. That's old. But I'm older than that now, so it's not. But so looking back at that, I was like, there's two choices that I have now. And I was diagnosed with bipolar in 2018 as well. It's like, you end it, or you're going to make a decision, actually change. And I chose in that moment to just, what I'm going to do is try and use that decision.
I was going to say, I think that the biggest point biggest turning point for a lot of people is
every time.
You just have to stick your guts out there and just go, I'm good.
It's down to, you're in a bad position anyway. So, well, for most, the point that you get decisions, turning points is normally where you've hit a crossroads or a dead end, or you've hit rock bottom. If that's where you're at, that you're feeling broken, how hard is it going to be to just try?
Yeah.
Because you're broken anyway. So you can stay where you are. You can try something else. If it doesn't go anywhere, you're still where you're at. So at least you tried. Have more of an opportunity or more of a chance to what you. That's what else is. As soon as I made that decision where I want to go, everything that photography was for me before is how the brand evolved. That was a turning point when I was like, this is more than photography and how to make somebody feel good. This is about how to give people their lives back and how to make sure that they are living their best life. It's no longer just about how to feel good. There's so many other aspects of it.
So just talking about, what do you think, was that potentially your biggest challenge that you've overcome with your health?
100%. I feel, so I diagnosed with depression from 14 and was on medication throughout the years. And then I was diagnosed with bipolar and pre-dementia from PTSD, which made things like really start declining for me. On something, you get like discount slice, big trays of Monday to Sunday pills, and each hour of the day it was scheduled at different times. And I was she's a pharmacist, and she kept my meds for me because of me being suicidal. She would split everything up for the week and make sure that everything was fine for me so that I could do it. And even at a shoot, because most people didn't know what was going on, I tried not to be too vulnerable at that stage. I only started being more open about it after I'd been hospitalized, because I felt like people needed to relate and feeling. But I saw how many people benefited from that. And I was taking about 20 to 30 tablets. And at the end of 2019, just to get through. But I felt like I'm numb, but I'm still feeling like, what here? I know that most people, all they want is a purpose. I'm sure you get on.
That for me was my turning point.
It's finding a purpose. What is the purpose? Why am I doing this? And even like one of the biggest things, I do a confidence course, a coaching course, which is like I call it the life makeover course. The first day you start is remember your why. Why? Start with your why, because that really does change everything. After, I forgot where I was.
2019. Turning point at the end of 2019, you were feeling numb?
Yes, sorry, there we go, the numbness. Thank you. So after I was feeling, why am I on it? And I'm not at all the kind of person that says don't take them. By all means, if you need them, take them. I'm an advocate for doing what you need to do. At the end of the day, I do feel like some people can be over medicated, but I also feel like sometimes other things can happen. It's very much your environment assists in your mental health way more than people even realize, So if you can change your environment, you'll see that the need for a lot, you're not taking away, you're not curing anything. So you're treating, and so we change the environment, and then I'll come off it did that for me though. As soon as I change that environment, they've changed a lot. I don't take 20 to 30 tablets a day. I stopped cold turkey. Probably not the wisest thing to do either.
Probably not.
No, I changed everything. I was like, I'm leaving. I'm gone. It's probably the big for me to get over was reality. I have bipolar, but not allowing it to define me. Because at the end of the day, people allow those things to define and lose their purpose because they have definitions of themselves now that
or labels,
they didn't want, or that they just allow somebody else to give it to them. It happens pretty much with anything. Oh, you're rich or you're poor or whatever. And so I am rich or poor. No, you're not. It's a definition that you're allowing. So,
and often other people not how see you, not how
perception,
you see you.
Absolutely everything was tattooed on me because of this purpose. And I use this example a lot in my coaching, where I say, okay, you and I can both look at this glass right now, okay? And you've got a light coming from your side, I've got a light from mine. You'll be looking at it and go, okay, what color is this? And you can tell me it's black or something ridiculous. Are you wrong or am I wrong?
It's like those pictures where there's two different things, and
exactly
depending on how you look at it.
Everything. At the end of the day, you're not wrong. and I'm not wrong, regardless of what the reality of the situation, you're still not wrong, because your experiences in your life have affected. It's almost like it becomes a filter over your eyes, and your experiences have affected the way that you see things. And so you're going to see the same thing as I do, but through a different lens. It doesn't make you wrong. My brain does this as soon as I start talking too much. And then
it's like,
hold on, wait, what?
we were talking about men.
Thank you. Yeah. A lot of that, like I said, it boils down to perspective. And so being able to see your environment a little bit, that could potentially affect your outcomes. In terms of mental health, the biggest thing, taking away the things that were constantly making me depressed, the biggest. And since they're the correct supports, a lot of my work online, it has been about, and at the same time, my offloading has helped the other people see that they're not, where a lot of people will say being that vulnerability, as difficult as being vulnerable is, it is hard because of that. So I always try to tell the stories that people have where if you're talking about something that happened to you, you know, you're not listening to other people, like,
or it makes you weak.
Yes, like it's unnecessary. Whereas if you're talking about it, you're allowing other people to see that they're normal. Sometimes you may think other people make sense, not in a situation that is normal.
Yes.
Just as seeing the other way around, it's like, okay, actually, I'm doing just fine, you know?
Yeah, for me, in my mental health journey, something that helped me a lot was actually just where I have ADHD, like, not even joking. I am the most organized person in certain aspects of my life, and I'm the most organized person in other aspects of my life. Something for me that really helped was decluttering my life. Like, just decluttering and get rid of...
It comes into, like, so I step back and be like, okay, it's terrible, but just because you also like letting somebody go doesn't make them a bad person. It just means they're not. People have to be okay with that as well. So yeah, decluttering is actually brilliant. Being able to get through that and assisting that mental health. So
it helps a lot with my anxiety.
Decluttering going. For me, it's about people or just talk about whatever's going. Not necessarily that there's even a solution. I sometimes find the solutions that I'm looking for in the process of speaking.
I was going to say, it crystallizes people's thinking. Just by working through that process, you're going to find the solution that works the best for you. Somebody else isn't solving your problems. You're working through it. What have you learned about yourself?
No, but I learned that when I think like I can push through hard times. Many. As most people have. I've been through many. But I realized recently how often those moments, it's almost like I give into those moments. Like, I can't cope anymore. Like, I'm done. I have a very bad habit of as soon as something is no longer, like, I can't see the purpose of it, I'm like, I'm out. I'm done. And my husband's fantastic with this. He'll be like, just remember this happened last time and you were able to get through it. So I recently learned about myself that I can actually push through just a little bit more. And where before I thought, okay, maybe I've reached my peak. I am naturally somebody that will keep on going even if it hurts. But to the point that I would come now, that I don't have to get to that. Like I was saying earlier, you can't have to be teachable. It doesn't matter. Even if you're a teacher, you have to be teachable. You know everything. Realizing that. I say maybe a bit of an asshole. Sometimes I know everything. Sometimes now I'm like, okay, I don't. You know, and it's okay. It's okay to not know everything. Because that's a pride thing at the end of the day.
Yeah, definitely.
Put it aside.
One of my mentors always says, you don't know what you don't know.
100%. 100%. I say that to the kids and I must take my own advice.
Yeah. Sometimes the advice that we give people or the bugbears in our lives are actually just a mirror reflecting back at us.
Literally.
This one, we could end up down. Why are you passionate about what you do?
I'm passionate about what I do because I needed this. For me, it's about finding a space for the things that I needed for a very long time. And so I'm passionate about giving that to other people. What I know is there's no way that I could have been the only one who ever needed that. And so, for example, the entire brand is community-based. So we have an online community and it's grown up and down. Like a few years ago, Facebook did a whole cleanup. I think it was in 2018 actually. Anybody that wasn't commenting or whatever, so they can be silent observers, which we have a lot of.
It's like me.
Silent observers of all the groups.
Oh, wow.
I lost something like 10 or 12,000 followers. It was nuts. It was nuts. So rebuilding that. But that community is where I always tell people, this is where you'll find your it's free stuff. It's not about be on the group so you can come and book a photo shoot. No, you want to do that, that's cool. That's a social element to it. Everything is based community. Because from growing up till I needed, and it was always something where I felt constantly lonely. I was bullied and I was like, this can't be a thing. When I needed somebody to talk to, I never, since there were people that were sincerely there for me.
There wasn't a platform for you to do that.
No, there wasn't. There wasn't anybody to listen. And all I wanted, as ridiculous as it sounds, is I just wanted real friends. Okay? And that may sound like, like everyone's got friends. No, not everybody does. Some people don't want it. My sister's an incredible, 100% introvert. And she's like, I'm good. Thank you. No friends for me. But I, on the other hand, I'm like, I don't want a lot of friends. I just want real.
Deep relationships.
I'm about real and authentic. So you'll even see on my necklace, it says authentically me. So ME obviously stands for Me'al. And I love that reference because it's me, but it's also ME is you. It's all the women that are involved in that community. It's one of the hashtags are she is you, because ME is you and me. I always just wanted to have real friendship. And it was like you're kind of looking for it in all these different places and being burned constantly. And so I'm the kind of person who's like, okay, if I can't find it, I'll do it myself.
I'll create it.
Yeah, I'll create. And so I started trying to build a community like that. Everything I wanted out of just that kind of space was real. I put it into that. The space that I've created now is literally, it's who I am. It's me, because that is all I wanted. If there was ever a space to call my home, that would be it. It represents absolutely everything that I am in terms of how we speak to people. You'll see if you had to go onto the platform. There can be negativity misconstrued, but when I say no negativity, I mean there's nobody speaking negatively towards each other. You can express your concerns or your upsets or whatever you're going through in your life, knowing that you're not going to be severely judged for it. Nobody's going to sit there and be like, oh, you're an idiot. Why are you talking about this? I maintain that space for this purpose, because I got to a point where if somebody would ever speak bad, like I hate gossip things for me, I can't stand it, because I know how I felt when somebody would gossip about me. And I have this thing, you're going to talk about me, I mean, if you're going to talk to me about somebody else, you're going to talk about me to somebody else. And so I don't entertain it either. And so I made sure in the space, even everybody who works inside Me'al, it's like one of the first things they get told is, guys, we're working with clients and work internally, and you're more than welcome to tell me how you feel about something. But if I ever catch you gossiping about a client or a customer, whatever you want to call it, we have problems. So it's something that I maintain. It's who I am. Whatever I wanted, I've expressly put into this environment. And that is why I think I've been so passionate about it, because it's who I am. It's what I needed. And if I wasn't passionate about it, it's kind of like I would have lost my passion for my desire to live. There's no longer a me. If that stopped, I feel like it's because I've lost myself. And yeah, that's kind of how it became, I suppose, as well. It's every part of it, of what, like I said, what I needed and what I found other people needed. And over time, when you start speaking, so we took it from there. Now there's social WhatsApp, and the girls meet up and they do all of these things, especially like, when you come to some of the social photo days. And so many people say, I've never been somewhere I felt more accepted. And it's like, it means that the people that I surround myself with are allowing that to sort of permeate the rest of the community, and so on and so forth. They're going out. When I started doing this, somebody had asked me a very similar question, and I said, how beautiful would it be if we could really change the world? We really could. If people could just be kind to each other.
Oh, 100%.
There's no necessity to be horrible and rude people. If you could just, it's like a ripple. So you may think that one little stone now, it may not do much. It may go about that far and it stops. But you keep going and you keep going, and it reaches further and it reaches further. And it gets to the point where these people that I haven't met that are saying, I have been here and I love being here. And I don't even know why, but I love being here.
Yeah.
But I'm like, if you're feeling at home and you're feeling at peace. Somebody came into the studio on Friday, and she said, I was so anxious. And then I walked in, and all of a sudden it was like there was peace. I'm fine. And she was like, it's like, I've met you guys. It feels like home.
Yeah.
That is what I want. And I'm passionate about it, because that is what I want to maintain. People, women, because again, I'm a woman, need to feel accepted. The world is so obsessed with this idea that women are bitches. Okay? And when you're in a group of people together, all these women together, you know how it gets. And it's like, yeah, it can be like that if they are not evolved. And again, this is why I said evolving femininity. And I'm passionate about that, because if a woman starts to evolve that narrative, she can change so many other people around her, because the women around her won't become those bitchy people. And I imagine they stopped allowing the people around them to be those little things, which most of the time, and why we do confidence coaching, stems from somebody's jealousy or inability or to accept who they are, or just the discomfort in who they are. And a lot of it's because they're vulnerable from the hurts that they have had. And you're not okay. One of the things that I'm attempting to get into doing is to speak to the girls at school on a school level, because if they can understand these concepts that we're teaching women in their 30s and 40s and older,
the world will change.
They can understand immediately that your confidence is based on you, not on what other people are telling you, because other people are telling you things based on where they've been. Somebody's being hurt at home, and so they're coming there, and so all they see is if somebody has to touch you, it's a bad thing. Where somebody else says, if you don't touch me, you don't love me. So you've already got two sides of something. Again, who's wrong? Nobody is wrong. It's just it's perspective at the end of the day. And when you can start realizing everyone is seeing things from different sides, you stop taking it personally, which means you stop being jealous about the way somebody says something. You stop being angry about the way they say something. You stop comparing yourself to somebody else because they're going through what they need to go through. Because I have a purpose and you have a purpose, and it's two different purposes. And so it's okay. I don't have to be jealous about whatever your purpose is, because whatever's meant for me, I'm going to walk in that way, and it's okay. And if you could teach children this, when you see how much the bullying stats are insane, and if you could see, I believe that if everybody was just kinder to each other, we could change the world. I'm not the only person that thinks that. If you could change children's perspectives from that level, young girls, guys, start treating each other just a little bit kind of stop allowing the girls around you to talk ugly about the other girls. They won't be the damaged adults we're trying to fix now.
100%.
And that's, I feel like I do.
You know, if I could have a teenage gift of figuring that out when I was younger, how different my life would have been.
You know how many people say that? Just to have had. So one of the things we're starting is called Mini Me.
I love that.
Which is all the younger girls of the started with like a smaller side of it on WhatsApp, where the kids are kind of like talking, and we've got the moms in the community monitoring them and stuff like that. But that's exactly why. Because it gets to a specific point. Young kids, you can teach them the basics, and that's fantastic. But when hormones kick in, anybody that's got teenagers knows, yuck, they're a handful. But by the time it gets to that, that's when they don't just need they need physical guidance. They need somebody to be like holding them accountable. And so it's phases of now you're accountable for this, because as an adult, nobody's holding you accountable anymore. Now you're just going around beating on people. Now you're a horrible person who doesn't have friends, or you are, stay away from that person. It affects many different areas of your life. So there needs to be a stage of accountability as much as there's a stage of education. And we need to enforce all of it. And I find it's our responsibility as women, if we say we're empowering women, to give them empowerment without education is nothing.
Yeah.
So if you're going to say that you're empowering somebody, you need to be educating them. And on top of educating them, you need to then provide the guidance that comes with that, which is accountability at the end of the day, to make sure that what they're learning, they're applying, so that the lessons don't go to waste, and then they become the woman that they're meant to be. And it's much earlier. Imagine these teenagers finding their purposes. Let's just say by the time they finish school, they know exactly where they're going. They're not spending their 20s trying to figure this out, landing up in a job, or maybe just. And all sorts of other things happen to themselves that is unnecessary, allowing bad things to happen because it could have been prevented. And I definitely feel like as women who are evolved, we have the responsibility to keep evolving others. And the ones that are evolving have just as much responsibility to the younger girls to come, because it's better or worse, and we want to rather make it better for them. That's how I feel. Yeah.
Love it. Okay, so how much of your success do you think is related to luck? And how much do you think is related to hard work?
I don't believe in luck. I firmly believe it's hard work, and I'm not even going to just say that that's hard work for me. It's definitely been where I've applied hard work, and the people that I've been lucky enough in that sense,
maybe there is a bit of luck involved,
who have been sent my way to do it.
Then is it not maybe an attraction thing?
Oh, 100%.
As opposed to luck?
Yes, as opposed to luck. Like I said, I don't believe in luck. There's definitely a sense of this is meant, if whatever's meant to be is meant to be, and if there's a plan and a purpose for everything. And so these people that have come my way, that have been sent my way, that are meant have helped build onto that success. And so definitely it's from a lot of hard work, and there's been a lot of hard workers. I'm not even gonna take all the credit for that and say it's just been like, I have worked my butt off. I think I did this for a good amount of years before anybody joined. I'm very neurotic, maybe a little controlling, very, and so it was very difficult for me to start. Jess, that was the first person where I was like, okay, you can kind of maybe do a little bit, and for a long time she was like, you can give me more to do, it's okay. And I was like, I don't know about this. But even taking advice from my husband, because he's an incredibly intelligent man, which is a fantastic idea of him, and he can say something that's like, oh, because I'm an emotional thinker, not a logical one, where he is very much all logic, a whole lot less emotion. So he can say stuff to me that I'm like, damn it, I wish I could have thought about that. And then I apply it, and it works. And so hard work, but it comes from a whole lot of people, in my opinion.
Yeah, you can't build an empire
Not
with
on your
one
own.
person.
Never ever. Can you imagine somebody building Rome by themselves? That would have been interesting. Might still be busy now, but no, definitely not.
Did you always want to do this?
Pause for a second, you got to finish this bit. Pause for a second, do this one. And now all of a sudden, it's like, okay.
When you're ready for it,
Yes.
it comes back in.
That's something. One of my business mentor told me, he was like, I know you want to do so much more, but stop, slow down. You got to do one thing at a time, let it work, because there's all of these ideas, but you can't do them all at once.
Yeah.
Because I tend to do that. So I get impatient and I leave something. And so a lot of the time I thought something was ending. Like I've always been good at photos, for example. For me, this is probably very ironic, don't view photography as a really fantastic thing. I use it as a tool to do the job that I'm meant to do for these women. But photography as a whole, as beautiful as it is, I don't belong to photography communities for this exact reason.
Yeah.
Because we differ on opinions over here, and it's beautiful and it's meant for some people. It's not me. It's what I do as a means, as a tool to get to do all these other things, but it's not who I am. No, draw a little bit. 2019 I developed my first lingerie range. Shein came and ruined that for me. No, I slowed it down a little bit, and now it's just kind of like, we can't compete. People can't really just compete. I worked with designers, and we managed to get a range. Do these things, and when I thought it was failure, and it didn't work, it kind of represented at a later stage to be this culmination of what Miel is now. And Emmy as a brand. And even if I just look at all the plans that we have that are coming up, all the things that I want to do, and I see all these different placements, and I'm just like, I could never have done that all on my own as much as I wanted to. I was like, I would like to do that. It's bigger. The plan and the purpose is bigger.
Yeah.
More people need to be affected by all these other things, and I couldn't do that if I only focused on one. So, but I always meant that I always want to do this. I always knew that I wanted to do something that meant something.
Business, you just have to figure out what it was that meant something
100%,
to you.
100%. Babysitted. I can even just, if I look back now, 2013, I came back from Cape Town after a really traumatic, my first book, about coming back from nothing to try and create something. And again, I had nothing. I had my family. We came back from Cape Town. I was living with my ex-husband at the time, my three, and my dad, one bedroom. My mom and dad had their house, but the only space that they had was one bedroom. And the five of us were in one bedroom. And it was like, who am I? What am I? Like, seriously? Is this what I'm supposed to be? But going through experience, I can relate to somebody who has nothing. Going from that to where I am now, I can relate to somebody who has a whole lot more. From that, I kind of miraculously found a job. I wasn't even looking. It was like I'd given up. I'd literally given up. And one of my friends was working at a company, and he applied, sent my CV for me, and he was like, there we go. They phoned me, and I'm like, this is great. Got the job. And that's where everything just started picking up. I started the new year, and I was like, I need something. My brain can't do boring things. I am far too overactive in my brain to just do nothing, like just computer all the time. And so I wanted to get active, started running. And I love running. It's amazing. It doesn't look like it, but I do. And so I kind of got a couple of the girls from work, and I was like, doesn't need me, we can do this. And they started running with me, and eventually there's another person that joined, and then another person that joined, and it's like, okay, so we're starting to do this thing. It was like trying to build like that.
So question was, why did you always want to do this?
Sorry, sometimes my memory is incredibly bad. Like I said, the pre-dementia, actually made it so much worse. So there'll be literally times I'll be flat out middle of a sentence and just be like, what was that?
That happens to me all the time, and I figured it's because of ADHD.
Could be that. Definitely, yeah. It can be horrible. I'll be in the middle of a live and I'm like, yo, so guys.
So after I had my second son, so what are we? It was a year ago. Just over a year ago. I was feeling very blah. And I eventually got a friend recommended me. And this woman diagnosed, I was still breastfeeding at the time. She diagnosed me with my bipolar. My mom's got bipolar.
Yeah.
She put me on all these hectic meds, and I just looked at this and I went, there's got to be a better way than this.
100%.
There has got to be a better way. I don't feel like I have these manic episodes and these depressive, like I don't feel like, yes, I'm impulsive, but I don't feel like it's related to my mental health.
Yeah.
I think it's related to ADHD. After learning more about ADHD with my son, I think it makes more sense.
Yeah, because like I say, if you're going through a manic episode, I generally speak fast because my brain goes.
Yeah, I'm the same.
It's so crazy. But if I'm manic, then I speak so quickly that my sister will be like, I thought you were on times 2 on on the voice. Like, very irritable. Like, there's a very telling sign. And so I'll say regularly, but I choose not to be on that medication because it's not a job. How do you connect with people like that?
What did you put? Epitic and lithium.
Oh my word.
And I was like, from nowhere, like literally straight
Nothing
onto
to the
it.
full on.
Yeah. And I took it for about a week, and I was like, I don't feel like I can do this. I actually, you know what it was that was a turning point? Was I went for one of my son's checkups at his sister. I'd done some research and discovered that I thought that this meds were fine for him to have. I was still feeding him, and we were chatting about how things are going with him and whatever, and I mentioned it, and she was like, I don't think that's fine for him.
No. I was told I couldn't. The doctor said to me, this is going to be a problem because babies can't have these meds.
Yeah.
I can't remember everything I was on. I was like, salt. A lot. I don't know. I'll be lying to you if I gave you the list of it now. It's been a while, but that's exactly why I stopped. Like, people knew.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%.
And you're numb.
Yeah, so so she said to me, what I'm going to do is I know as the prenatal and the postnatal for moms that are bipolar, etc.
Oh, wow.
So I went to go see this other lady, and like now I'm on meds that help my anxiety and meds that help me sleep. So it's not sleeping tablets, it's meds that stop my brain from working.
What did she give you?
It's called Dopacor. So it just stops me from thinking.
I think that's actually what they put Levi on now. How do you say that? It was something with a D. Sounds familiar.
It stops my brain from working so I can sleep because I've got an overactive thinking.
Doesn't stop.
Way better than I was. I'll eventually get to the point we wean it off again, but at the moment, like, there's just so much going on. If I don't have a little bit of help, I'm not going to manage.
That's something I can tell you. That's something I tell you. It's okay when you then be like, that is actually probably even the bigger thing for me to get over, because I was like, well, I said I'm stopping, so I'm going to stop. The reason was because my dad was like, you shouldn't do this. I'm stubborn about it. So if I make a decision, I stick to it. And so I'm going to go off it, and now I've got to stay off because I made that decision. But now and again, you really do just need that help. Like at this point in time, I'm on Alzheimer's because I cannot cope with my anxiety so bad. But I have an issue with my kidneys, so I can't have it all the time.
Yeah.
So it's like now I've got to alternate my medications between it so that I don't become addicted and I don't mess up my kidneys a little bit more. And at the same time, I can actually cope and just deal with everything. There are times when it is hard and you just have to take
stressful period.
Yes. And it's not a bad thing. It's really, medication is not a bad thing. I think over medicating or not knowing when to say no, or
I think it's also a case of learning your body.
Oh yeah.
And that's also been a massive lesson for me in the last 5 or so years, is that, you know, I've learned to know when I can push, when I'm ready to push, know when I can't, know when I need a little bit of help, and also pay more attention to what I take. So how does it make me feel? Does it make me feel, so there was one last year that it made me feel so nauseous and I had such horrible stomach cramps. But if you're not aware of your body, you don't realize that it's the medication.
Yeah, you have to be self-aware.
And sometimes so that medication ended up being something that I had to push through with, because it is one of the things that when you start on it,
for 10 days
those
or 2
are the
weeks
symptoms. Yes. So now it's fine. But yeah, sometimes your body just needs, we do so much damage to our bodies. So
The recovery
for instance,
of that.
the amount of stress that I put my body through in my 20s and early 30s did some serious damage to various hormones. And that my body now needs a little bit of help to control the insulin, for instance. And if I don't take that, in the long run, I'm going to do even more damage to my body.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean I'm going to be on it forever.
But being able to pick up from exactly that. So I know I'm going through an episode now. I need to be on something. I need to be able to take X, Y, Z. And it's funny. It's after my husband's been very perceptive over time. He's like, I don't know anything about this. I'll be honest with you, but as long as you teach me along the way, I know what to look for. And there'll be times when he's like, I think you might need some of your medication. Something is
a mess.
Yeah. It's like it's either you're going through a phase or something is not okay, because I'm generally with him. Last person in the world that I'll be snappy with. The minute I'm like a little bit short with him, then he's like, okay,
something's not so good.
We're going through something now. Let's just check it out, and we'll monitor it and be like, okay, time.
But it's that support structure.
Yeah. That is huge. Now, having the right support is huge. And that's another reason why I wanted to develop the community like that. Is because people need real support. It's so annoying for me when people are like, oh, I'm here for you. And I'm like, for how? How?
Yeah. Exactly.
Actually tell me how. What do you mean by that?
So one of my big sayings and one of my biggest lessons in life, and I have spoken about this on a few podcasts, so sorry people if you're hearing the same thing, but one of my big learnings in life is show me, don't tell me.
Every time I'm the same, yes. Anyone can talk. Not everybody can do. I literally said that this morning. Exactly that. Yeah. Because you can say all the time, I've got you, don't worry. I'll support you.
Some people are really good salespeople.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
And they can talk a whole lot of bull.
I was married to one. No, talking nonsense. That having a real support structure has that changed my life. That literally changed my life to the point that I can support other people now, and even with internally having my people support their people. So we've even got, for example, on the WhatsApp groups, right? We've got like a main social WhatsApp group. It sounds extreme, like there's 300 and something girls on this group. It sounds a lot, right? We've got like 100 WhatsApp groups, but it's for something. We've got different things for everything, right? Pets, there's the moms, there's the tech girls, I know nothing about tech, so that doesn't help me at all, but it's great if I have a question I can be like, somebody help me. Yes. Either way, there's always somebody on there. I have the girls that help me admin it, because again, you can't do everything yourself, and we have a little group, and it's great when you're like, how are you genuinely supporting the people that are in these little groups? When somebody's saying, guys, I'm having a really bad day, it is so beautiful to just watch. Us can sit back and just watch these girls talk each other right out of it. At the moment, we're doing an ambassador competition. One of the girls made a comment the other day. I didn't know whether to. I wanted to cry because I was so proud in that moment. And they were all talking how they were getting ready for this competition, because the final stage of it is our pageant, which we're having next weekend. In the pageant, they all have to have an outfit that represents them, so they get to show us what they are. And at the same time, they have to have a glam outfit where they're going to come out and tell us why they want to do this. Most, standard procedures for pageants and stuff like that. But the reason I wanted a pageant was because I wanted to show my girls are going to be there. A lot of our community girls are going to be there. You can do these things. You can do anything you want to do. You can't. One of the girls, while they were busy talking, they were hyping each other up, which is what always happens at a shoot day. For example, when we're doing a booty call, it's real. And while they were prepping for this competition, the girls were talking about it and be like, where a competition like this, where it's about winning something, there's only 5, and we started with 90 people.
Wow.
You got 5 girls that can win, but they're all rooting for each other to win.
You know what? If I think about it, so there's somebody else that I'm going to interview who did Mrs. South Africa.
Oh, wow. Okay.
What she talks about now is about how it broke her so much.
So sad.
How she's now had to literally overcome PTSD. Failure was, she thought she was going to place, and then she wasn't even in the finalist. The narcissist, and it's women doing this to women. It's not men.
See, this is my point. This is exactly this is the narrative that I'm driven to change. Is this thing of women doing this to each other, and they play into it. Like, oh, women are like this. Okay, so do you want to be known like that? Or how about, would you like to be known differently? Start with yourself.
Exactly.
Change yourself. And to hear these girls saying that, because you need to lose more weight. You need to look like this. You have to look like this. You got to speak like that. And the idea of this pageant was, no, I want all of these who they are. Because even when we were going through, we got like weekly or monthly Q&As leading up to the shoot process, to the pageant process, where they were going, but tell us, when we chose them, we looked at what kind of impact they kind of had. Would they suit our expectations on? And a lot of them were going, but we don't have huge followers. And I said, this is my point. I don't want people with followers. Everybody wants someone to represent them that's got all of these fans and all of these, I want an influencer. Why? Because that makes no impact for me, not an impact for our brand outside of our community. I don't care. You're going to post a picture that I've taken of you on your Facebook page, on your Instagram, or on your TikTok, and people are going to see it, they're going to like it, and it's done. There's another squat. Squatting's done. So for me, that's completely irrelevant. What I want to know is inside our community, where people are looking up to you, where there are people that you need to influence that are directly next to you. That's the bigger influence. The people that you're shoulder to shoulder with. Show me that you're influencing them. Show me the impact you can have in our community. I don't care if you haven't got one follower. But if you're posting something inside of that community where you're going, it's like 22,000 or whatever people are on there. You're going to go in front of those 22,000 and post a picture and tell them something beautiful about themselves. It's not about you. It's not about you.
I did a social media course at the end of last year, and one of the things that the presenter said, yes, you may not have a massive following, but you're still an influencer. Everybody is watching. You need to think like that.
100%.
You need to behave like
your behavior. Be accountable for it. I realized, this is how much I will hold myself accountable. On the week, I had a really rough week. We just spoke about this. A very rough week. And so by Sunday, I was like moody, man. I wasn't happy. And the girls had started talking about something, and I, for the first time, allowed this conversation to continue. And they were speaking just what would be a normal conversation. I'll even tell you, it's a normal conversation about how this girl looked at my husband, and so it's not okay, and how dare she, and just calling this person names. And for the first time, I was like, whatever. I actually don't care, because I actually have been through this, and I feel the same damn thing. And I was uncomfortable throughout the day when I realized this is something I don't stand for, and I just allowed that to happen. That I messaged everybody afterwards. We have prep groups where everybody talks, they prepare for the shoots, and they get their stuff afterwards. And I messaged them, and I was like, guys, I want to apologize for my behavior for allowing it.
Yeah.
Because I'm here to tell you that it's not okay. It hasn't been okay before. And just because I on the day I had a bad day and I allowed it, doesn't mean that it's going to be okay going forward. So I want to take accountability now and say, I am sorry for allowing this conversation to happen. I am sorry for participating by not saying anything, because people don't realize by not saying something, you're actually participating.
Standing for it.
You are. And so that won't be allowed to happen again. And so I'm putting my foot down about it now. But I am sorry, and I want to be accountable thing to me. And I think that's when a lot of people sometimes forget that I'm real. They like to forget that I'm real sometimes, because I'm not a robot that's just going to be sprouting all these good things all the time. There are days when I have bad days, and I'll be like, no, this is not okay.
We're all human.
We're all human. And so that narrative needs to change. And so that was part of the whole pageant, is it's your behavior. And what are you taking? How are you going to do it? So one of the girls said, she was like, she doesn't have any support coming on the evening. She was like, I don't have anybody there. And I was like, it's fine. You got us. These girls here, this is support. They're not just your competitors. They want you to win just as much as anybody will be sad that they're not going to make it. They're going to be happy that they're different from the rest. And I said to her, she said, what if I start crying? I'm stand there, and you're going to look at me in my eyes, and you're going to talk to me, not about anybody else. Yeah. You can stand there, I will hold your hand, and you're going to tell me what you have to say, and then we'll go from there, because that's all that matters in that moment. It's not about how many other people, because you don't know them next to you, who you can have something to say is equally important if it's just one person. Yeah. And there's little girls that will be watching right there and then, they'll be able to see that there's real support, no matter how it comes across. Even if it looks unprofessional to anybody else, I'm going to get up in my little glam dress and get up on that stage and hold your cry and then talk. But talk to me. You don't have to talk to anybody else. And watching them through that process showed me how the community had what I wanted it to become. It's a beautiful place for me to sit back and watch all of them do this. It's phenomenal. And they make that up. You can't make a community by yourself. That would be great if I'd be solo, I got this, but no, we need people to be part of that. So if it wasn't for them.
Where do the great ideas come from?
The great ideas, I think, from observation, seeing what people need. So essentially, for me, it comes from everybody else. So when I see somebody need something, kind of find a way to make it happen, whether it's by myself or whether it's with a business analyst or whether it's will be there to make it become a reality. And those ideas are born from the things that we've seen that people need.
Sitting back and observing and letting others inspire you.
Every time. It's never a self-inspiration, ever, ever, ever. It's always about, so somebody's done something. I can only speak from what I've experienced and say, okay, so how would I feel in that? I firmly believe in, before you can say something to girls and you see, you're going to work with thousands of women all the time. You're going to know you're dealing with many, many types of personalities and many, many backgrounds. So when you watch them, if you're only going to take from your own experience, you're very limited. I mean, that's not going to help anybody eventually. You kind of wrung out. There's nothing left.
But yeah, I mean, that's exactly why I'm doing these podcasts is to help others to learn from other people's
always
successes or failures.
You know what I always say is that there's too many mistakes in the world to make them all yourself. And it goes the same in every direction. It's not just about mistakes. There's too much in this world for it all be just you. It's okay to take inspiration from other people, to observe other people and let them help.
Yeah.
Same.
Just accept it.
Yeah.
What is one question that you wish I'd asked you? Would you have answered it?
I think why Mia L? Because that's...
I know that.
Yeah.
But the listeners don't.
They don't. Because it is a question when people do ask me, like, why the name? I mean, you're Sarah. Why Mia L? I love writing and I love playing around with words. So this was fun exercise for me.
Maybe you were a copywriter in a previous life.
Maybe, somewhere along, something like that. So when I was thinking about the name, I played around with so many different things. But I knew that this was going to be like a baby for me. This was my other baby. And so it needed something that was going to feel like mine. So my eldest daughter's name is Mia, and her name means man, or my in Italian. L is a combination of Levi, which is my son, and my youngest daughter is Alexa, with their kind of letters flipped backwards.
Yeah.
And in French, that means femininity. So when I put it together, it meant my femininity. And that for me was like, this is my baby. That means my femininity, which represented not just my personal femininity and the growth that I've gone through, that I'm going through, and that I'm still going to go through, but that of every other woman. Like I was saying, when you take Mia L as a name and you turn it into the acronym of ME, which is me, it's not about me, Sarah. It's not about me. It is me, but it's also you or you, whoever you are. ME, which is me, is you. She is you. And it's about that empowerment of every woman, that if you look at Mia L in any way, you should be able to find something about yourself. You should be able to look there and find you. And if you can't, you're going to find something that you wanted, maybe, or something that you hadn't thought about that you still now you want it. But there's something in there for everybody, and that's what I want overall. It must be a place for everybody. And so Mia L, or Emmy, however you want to look at it, because the brand has culminated to ME now. Just something I wish people realized how personal that was, not just for me, but for them. Because it essentially is about them just as much as it's about me.
And it's very clever.
Thanks. Yes. Go on, right?
What do you think is next for you? What's on the cards? Lots.
According to my mentor, he says too much. But in terms of the brand, we're looking at expanding a lot in the sense of developing different areas, like I was saying earlier, like one for men, which is literally called Men, so it's M.E with in it then. Yeah. So it's Mia L Men. Because one thing we realized on couples shoot days, or like we have our booty call days, and the men come with because we're doing couples and stuff. The guys have got to know each other just like the girls have, and they're always asking, when's the next one for us? Like there was a joke, one of the girls made a meme the other day. It was like, I don't know if you've ever seen that picture where the girl's lying in bed and she's thinking, and he's the guy's facing the other way, and she's the one saying, I bet he's thinking about sport again, and he was like, I wish I could do a Mia L shoot as well.
That's cute.
I laughed so hard because I was like, this fits so perfectly, because we had so many guys that have said, like, when is it my turn? Like, when can I do this? Because they tend to find just as much support eventually with the other men in that community, and that's what I want. So the intention is to expand that it's a people's brand as much as it's a woman's brand. They will be sectioned because I still feel like it needs to retain its individuality, but that it can coexist Just like we're trying to show people you can believe in women empowerment without being, derogatory towards men. Synchronize them in the same way. That is it, because it's equally important. And same thing when it comes to the kids, the whole mini-me thing, raising kids from that side. I wanted to develop like that. So the intention is to create something that's going to leave a legacy. I think one of the hardest things for me is the idea that all of this is only going to happen after I died. 1 minute I was like, I don't want to live anymore. The next thing I'm like, I don't want to die yet. Just hold on a second. Like, there's so much that I want to see happen for everybody else, and to see that exist even after I've gone. So that's hopefully what is next, is just to keep on growing those different areas and making sure that we see more women, more children, more men even just develop into their best selves and live their best lives. It's at the end of the day.
It was a question that I considered asking you. How does succession planning fall into this? So is the brand you without you? You know what I mean? Is it going to carry on?
Yeah. So this is something that's regularly discussed because I'm so fearful of it. I'm like, oh my word. When I'm not here, what then? Is it something? So I feel like I'm we talk about luck. It's not luck, but you know what I mean? Very lucky in the sense that the people who are coming in to run different sections with me are not short term. They're people who value the brand and the part that they play in making that successful and that grow enough to know that when I'm gone, that will continue. It will still be managed, and I would really hope that every lesson that I've tried to impart and every part of me that I've tried to leave like sort of footprints around the community, that would continue, just based off the experiences people have had, the interactions that they've had, and that they will continue to pay it forward. But you know what I mean? Like, keep on treating each other that way, that they will see that they learned that kindness pays off. And so they will keep on being that. And then somewhere along the line, they'll be like, why are you like that? It's like, well, go check it out. These people are still there and they're still doing it. So in terms of certain parts of it, I feel like it will still work. Other parts, nobody can do the coaching for me, but maybe we'll have other coaches somewhere along the line. So that is on the cards, is to let it grow to the point where there are people that can continue way after
without you.
Yeah.
Yep.
100%.
And then finally, how can our listeners support you and your work?
Lots of ways. Well, I mean, just starting, I suppose, following on like social media and stuff like that is probably the best way. We've got many handles, so because there's so many different parts to this, but we're on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. Let me just think. So we've got our community group is a woman only group, specifically closed off so I could protect the girls, and that we know that it's a safe environment. So there's always that. They can search Mia L Boudoir Photography. There's a Mia L Studio in America.
Oh, wow.
Which was hilarious because now and again we'll have a little bit of fun on Instagram when people accidentally tag one of us in the other person's post. So
actually, I did. When I was Googling this morning.
You see, they were.
Yeah.
They're fantastic photographers. It's two ladies and they're lovely. It's Mia L Boudoir Photography specifically. So you'll be able to find it on all of those. We've got a photography page. We've got our business site is called Exposed. Again, I like playing on words. So it's called Exposed Naked Business Solutions. So it's where we've taken the word pose specifically to stand out because of the photography side of things, and naked business, so that we could help people take whatever they need for their business and make it as simple as possible. So we've got different avenues in terms of this, and then my coaching is literally just Sara Murray, so they can just look for Sara Murray, good old Sara Murray, and follow me from there. A lot of my stuff, a lot of my handles and things will be on there as well. So
perfect.
Hopefully that's. If I had to list them all now, it might take us a while.
I was going to say,
sorry about that.
But I think they all kind of link into one another.
Yes,
so
they do.
If you find one, you should be able to.
100%. 100%.
I was going to say, maybe we can share a link tree
100%.
in the caption.
Yeah. Actually, I'll send you one.
In the description.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Cool.
Thank you, Sara, so much for joining us.
Yeah.
It's been a really, really great conversation.
Thank you. I hope it. It's great. Thanks, Michelle.
Thank you.
Okay.
And that's the end of this episode. Let's extend our deepest appreciation to Sara May, who shared with us insightful advice and engaging narratives that will undoubtedly shape approaches to challenges in the future. Your insights have been truly powerful, Sara, a wonderful source of motivation.